Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you to Root River Jam for the pre-event music. You can hear them at the first outdoor farmers market this Saturday, May 1st from 9 a.m. to noon. Welcome to Energy Efficiency for Your Home, part of our Earth Fest celebration this year. Excited to have you here with us virtually. Our Earth Fest steering committee and partners have put together a full lineup of virtual events on all topics Earth related. We invite you to visit our brand new website at earthfestrochestermn.org and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/earthfestrochestermn to sign up for our upcoming events. Today's events have been made possible by our sponsors that you've been seeing on our pre-event slideshow, including Fresh Energy, Mayo Clinic, AARP, Conservation Minnesota, Destination Medical Center, Daguna Consulting, Minnesota Public Radio, Sierra Club North Star Chapter, Solar Connection, Christ United Methodist Church, HGA, People's Food Co-op, Rochester Area Foundation, XRG Concepts, and Zumbro Valley Autobahn. If you have any technical issues as we move through today's event, please contact me, Megan Gallagher, in the chat or via email, which I will add to the chat right now. Please keep your microphones off until the end when we open it up for questions. You can also submit questions in the chat, which will be monitored throughout the event. And you may turn your video on or off as you prefer. This session is being recorded and we will be posting it to our website within the next few days. Now I will hand it over to Lauren Jensen to get started with today's topic, energy efficiency for your home.
Thanks, Megan, and thanks to everyone who's joining us tonight. We're really excited for this presentation. I know personally I work with the Energy Commission at the City of Rochester, and energy efficiency is something we have talked about quite a lot, particularly how to engage local residents in the community. So we're excited to have an event this week that focuses on that topic. We have a few different speakers with us today to talk about different actions homeowners can take, as well as incentives and rebates that are available to homeowners for different projects. We'll be starting off with Carmen from the Citizens Utility Board to talk about various resources available and some of those actions. And then next, we will have Lisa Rafferty from Minnesota Energy Resources to share about some incentives and rebates that they have available. And then we'll wrap it up with Stephanie Humphrey from Rochester Public Utilities. As Megan mentioned, please feel free to put questions or comments in the chat. We do have time at the end for questions and discussion, and we'd love to engage with you all then. With that, I will pull up our PowerPoint here and let Carmen begin.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I'm excited to be with you this evening and really looking forward to your questions. So please chat away and I will try to address as many as I can throughout the presentation. And then as mentioned, there'll be more time for Q&A at the end. So we can go on to the next slide, please. So first of all, happy Earth Month. And I'm Carmen Carruthers. I'm the Outreach Director for the Citizens Utility Board of Minnesota. And I'll spend a few minutes just talking about our organization too, so you know who we are and what we do. So we'll do that. We're going to be talking about opportunities for energy efficiency in your home, which you'll hear even more about with our other speakers as well. I want to talk about some of the trends in energy, including renewable energy, and this idea of electrifying things as our grid gets cleaner. And then also spending some time on giving you some very practical energy saving tips and information on help with bills. During this time of COVID, a lot of households who maybe previously weren't struggling to pay their bills are finding themselves in different situations. So we're really trying to spread the word to people about all the different options that can help with getting those energy bills paid. And then we'll just do a wrap up. So to start out, the Citizens Utility Board of Minnesota is a nonprofit independent consumer advocate. So we're just coming upon our 5th birthday in the state of Minnesota. And our focus is really on trying to provide good information to consumers so they can make good decisions for their households. And so my role in outreach is very much about that, working with individual consumers, giving talks around the state on various topics. Everyone's a little bit different. You'll see my colleague Hannah and I working from home currently. And one of the things that we spend a lot of time doing are our energy bill consultations. So we will talk directly with consumers, ask a lot of questions about how a household operates, and then give them specific suggestions of things they can do in their home to try to reduce energy usage, to save money, to meet their energy goals. If they're interested in renewable energy, we can help line them up with resources for that, really any kind of topic. And at the end of the presentation, I'll have a link of how you can sign up to get a free energy bill consultation. We've reserved some times just for folks involved in EarthFest. We'll go on to the next slide. The other part of our organization focuses on advocacy. So we're very active at the state legislature as well as the Public Utilities Commission. Being that your electric utility is a municipal utility, the Public Utilities Commission isn't often involved. But with Minnesota Energy Resources, they are what's called a regulated utility. So when there's proposals made for regulated utilities across the state, we will get involved and advocate on consumers' behalfs, and you know, making sure that those sorts of interests are being addressed when new programs are being proposed or if rates are proposed to be increased. So those are just some examples of things that we're involved in as a nonprofit organization. Go on to the next slide. So really one of the big things that we like to focus on, and I know your utilities like to focus on as well, is energy efficiency. It's just really the best starting point. So it's, you know, the energy you don't use is what's the cleanest and the least expensive. And so we want to talk about the energy saving opportunities that exist in our homes. So we can go on to the next slide, please. This is a chart from the Minnesota Department of Commerce, and it's Minnesota specific. And this is a really good starting point in terms of looking how an average home in Minnesota consumes energy. And so you'll notice that over half of the energy consumed in a home is heating and cooling. So in most cases, this is the go-to opportunity for most homes to try to save energy and reduce their expenses. Our biggest recommendation is adjusting your thermostat. There's tends to be opportunities in most homes to do that. And we'll talk about some of the recommending settings a little bit later. The next big use, whoops, if you can go back, please, is water heating. So another 15% is used for water heating, which isn't something people often think about, but it's a big user of energy in our homes, depending on how you heat your water, whether it's gas or an electric water heater, or perhaps a hybrid air source heat pump type water heater. A lot of homes use a lot of water, and there's really a close connection between energy use and water use. So thinking about opportunities to reduce your water use often results in using less energy. And then we have another 15% in our appliances. So fridge, stove, refrigerator, washer, dryer, those types of things. So the idea is to use them efficiently and not more than you need to. And then we have lighting for 10%, and then electronics as 5%. What's interesting in this time of COVID is that I think many households across the state are definitely seeing an increased use in electronics at home as opposed to at a workplace or at a school. So the key with that again is making sure to shut things off when you're done using them, trying to manage that use, not having things staying on. But you know, the fact of it is in this past year and a half is that most households are just consuming more energy because we're home more. And the things that drive energy use are the number of people in the home, how often you're home, and then some of the construction of the home, the age and how efficient it is, and the age of the appliances and all those things. But just the fact that we're all home more is resulting in most homes using more energy than they were pre-pandemic. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so I mentioned just very briefly there kind of the physical state of a home and its impact on energy. And so this is a pie chart that shows the breakdown of housing stock in Minnesota. And I'm wondering in the chat if anyone would like to hazard a guess which decade the state widely adopted state building codes. Was it the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or later? Just see if there's any guesses in the chat real quick. 60s, okay. 80s, question mark. 1960. Okay, so we actually kind of straddled the answer. It was the late 70s, 40s to 50s. Yeah, so it's maybe a little bit later than we would have guessed, right? And not to say that there may have been some building codes in other parts of the state, but widely adopted was the late 70s. So our rule of thumb is for homes built before the 1980s, you know, just kind of rounding up a little bit. It's questionable how much insulation your home might be because there wasn't necessarily a requirement to have a certain amount. So when we look at the housing stock in the state of Minnesota, over half was built before the 1980s. So there's likely a lot of opportunity to make improvements to our housing to make it more efficient and more comfortable as well. So if we go on to the next slide, please. So one of the best ways to get a really thorough understanding of how efficient your home might be and where there might be opportunities for improvement is to get a home energy assessment, also known as a home energy audit. And your utilities, both Minnesota Energy Resources and Rochester Public Utilities, can help you with that. And it's a great first step. We often will recommend it to someone who's maybe just new to a home because sometimes home inspections don't cover these topics. But most people, when they're purchasing a home, have plans at some point in the future to do some sort of improvement. And even if you're not able to do something right away, knowing that it's something on your to-do list is really helpful so you can combine it with other projects. And often these improvements are going to be paying off in the long run, as well as making you more comfortable in all seasons of weather. So I encourage you to look up the information you're going to receive on all the different rebates available, because when you get the assessment, there'll be recommendations made, and there's often rebates associated to try to make those improvements more affordable. And you can look at a variety of methods to help pay for those improvements too. We'll go on to the next slide, please. So another thing important for homeowners when we're talking about efficiency, and we talked about you know, what uses a lot of energy in our homes, heating and cooling being the majority of our energy use. It's also important to look at, okay, when are there opportunities to make things more efficient? So understanding the lifespan of our mechanical systems, these are important parts of our homes. Your furnace, your boiler, maybe you have an air source heat pump, air conditioners, water heaters, we talked about that being another big energy user. There's unique opportunities to replace these. And so because they're only replaced, you're seeing, you know, anywhere from 10 to 25 years, you want to do a little research ahead of time and have an idea of what would you replace that with? Because this is one of these unique opportunities to be more efficient. And to pick appliances that you're going to feel good about for, you know, potentially a couple of decades. And if you're looking to reduce your environmental impact, again, these are important opportunities to keep in mind. Most, you know, from what we hear, most people replace these things when they die, and it's often an emergency decision. So ideally, you're kind of thinking ahead, planning ahead for these, and having an idea of what you might want to replace it with. And getting regular tune-ups on your furnaces and air conditioners is really important, because you're getting a little bit of a heads up then about like the expected lifespan. So yep, the furnace is great, it's got several more years, or nope, you're going to have to replace this in the next couple of years. And maybe even being able to do that preemptively could save a lot of hassle on your end too, and allow you to make the kind of decision you would like to. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so we kind of talked about overview, big opportunities. Now I wanted to just briefly touch on, you know, how is our energy generated? Where does it come from? And we'll go on to the next slide. From a statewide basis, there's been a lot of change in the last decade. I'd like, again, someone in the chat maybe to shout out, what are some of the major changes you see, and does anything surprise you when you look at how energy across the state was generated in 2009 compared to 2019? More renewables, yes. And you can see renewables have increased significantly, a lot less coal than we had 10 years ago. Anything else stand out to folks? You'll notice there's significantly more natural gas than there was 10 years ago, and that has a lot to do with the economics of fracking being a new technology that has brought the price down. One thing I like to point out, and you may have noticed this already, is in 2009, solar wasn't even a sliver. And you'll see that it's up to 3% in 2019. So a lot more development of solar in the last decade. And wind has doubled. Nuclear has stayed pretty constant. Okay, and the generation at in your local area can be different than the statewide, but I think it's important to understand as a state how our energy is how our electricity and specifically has been generated. Surprised to see biomass is reduced. Yeah, and that's a good comment. And I don't know if it's been reduced in total or if it's just a smaller percentage, but good observation. Okay, and we can go on to the next slide, please. Okay, and you know, one of the first comments was how much renewables are increasing, and just wanting to touch on some of the key reasons why this is happening. Utilities themselves are investing more in renewables because it's just become a very basic economic decision. The costs have come down, so it becomes a very attractive option for utilities in order to generate electricity for us. From a private standpoint, from individual households and businesses, the price of solar has gone down, rooftop solar in particular, so it's becoming a more popular option for people because the payback period is decreasing and is within a reasonable time frame that people feel comfortable putting money into those systems. The other interesting thing that you'll see happening in the upcoming years is this issue of batteries and storing energy. So we know not every day is a sunny day or a windy day, but as we're able to store that excess energy when it's produced and then put it back on the grid, that's going to be really important in helping create a stable baseline of renewable energy beyond what we already have. It's also having more renewables on the grid is creating a situation in which we need to manage the grid in a different way and help match demand with supply. And that's where consumers actually have an important role. So I think in the future, it's not too difficult to foresee that we as consumers may be asked to shift our demand in different ways to help match the supply. So, you know, a common example is that the wind is blowing more at night. And you've probably already heard, like, that's when people charge their electric vehicles, those that have it. And it's a really cheap way of getting that electricity because there's so much of it and it's inexpensive. You could also imagine, you know, being able to save a little bit of money by running your dishwasher, putting it on a timer, and it starts at 11 at night when you're sleeping, as opposed to just running it at 6:30 right after dinner. So we as consumers can play a role in helping make a more renewable grid more viable for us and for the rest of the state. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, and so this plays into this topic. Some of you may have heard of electrification. It's often referred to as beneficial electrification. And this is where we may actually use more energy, or more electricity rather, in the future as we shift away from fossil fuels, where people will choose to use electricity more frequently and use the fossil fuels less. So again, if we go on to the next slide, some of these examples are the electric car being a very common one, converting some space heating to electric heating. Air source heat pumps are a technology that are becoming more common in our climate as the technology evolves. And I'd be happy to talk more about that during the Q&A section. And cooking as well. So these are all just some of the common examples where you may be seeing some shift. It's not that we're consuming less energy overall, just more electricity. We'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some just real basic tips to try to use less energy in your home and still feel comfortable. So I have the summer slide up first, which is nice because for a long time it's been the winter slide first. But as we get into the warmer weather, air conditioning is usually because of air conditioning, most people in the southern part of the state have the highest electricity bills in the summer because we're using air conditioning to stay comfortable. So the Department of Energy recommends waiting till it's 78 degrees to turn it on if you can tolerate that. We understand that that's not comfortable for everyone, especially if you have a really humid day. But waiting as long as you can, and then using fans to supplement the air conditioning to make you feel cooler. A fan can make you feel up to 4 degrees cooler. It's the wind chill effect that it's creating. So you could have the thermostat set at 78, but it'll feel more like 74. And also maybe being strategic about when you're using the air conditioning when you need it the most. So for me personally, I can deal with warmer weather during the day, but when it's nighttime, I want to be able to sleep and have it, you know, at a cool enough temperature where I can sleep comfortably. A lot to do with kind of managing the heat in your home is managing the sun. So shutting shades, curtains, blinds, keeping that hot sun out, taking advantage of cool mornings and evenings and opening up your windows to cool naturally. Keeping your air conditioner in good condition. So when it is running, it's running efficiently. You should get it serviced each year if you have a central air conditioning unit. And then if you have a window unit, sealing up the holes around it. So again, you're not warming the great outdoors, or rather cooling the great outdoors. You want to cool the inside of your home. And also looking for units that are Energy Star rated will also help save you energy. We'll go on to the next slide, please. And then just some basic winter tips to keep in mind. The recommended temperature is 68 when you're home. Again, we recognize some people may need it warmer than that. Some people can tolerate cooler. But what we suggest is just adjusting at a degree or two at a time to kind of find that sweet spot where you're feeling comfortable, but not having it warmer and using more energy than you need. The other huge opportunity to save energy is reducing the thermostat when you're away or asleep, about up to 10 degrees. Again, this is personal preference. This is another example how with having people at home throughout most parts of the day during the COVID thing, that we didn't have this opportunity to turn the thermostat down for a good 8 or 10 hours like you might have otherwise. So really focusing on the sleeping part. Never lower than 55 degrees. And the reason for that is you don't want to risk freezing your pipes. And in the wintertime, you do the opposite with the sun. You want to open up your window treatments, let that warm sun passively warm up your space. Again, Minnesota, wear layers, dress for the weather. And the other tip is avoiding or minimizing space heater use. And I'm talking about the portable space heaters that you might have running in your basement or underneath your desk or in that cold room that just doesn't seem to get warm. Very common, often necessary, but again, it's really about managing it and not using it more than often. Anytime we see a spike in somebody's bill in the wintertime, that's my first question is, are you running a space heater? Other common energy things that can trigger kind of higher than average use is like a humidifier or a dehumidifier. And again, these things might be actually necessary, but you just want to try to manage their use so that you're not using more energy than necessary. And we had a question about why avoid or minimize space heater use. This is from an energy perspective because they tend to use a lot of electricity. They're not the most efficient way to heat your home. But again, sometimes they're necessary. This is a balance between comfort and energy savings. So if you need to use them, again, just encouraging you to manage the use and not have them running more than necessary in an effort to reduce your energy expenses. Okay, we'll go on to the next slide. And then just some kind of general overall suggestions. Again, I've been talking about electronics a fair amount just because of how things are currently or have been as well, is there's a thing called vampire use where something is plugged in and it's not on per se, but it's still drawing power. The thing is, a good example is a TV where you can just push a remote control and it turns on. In actuality, that TV was never off. It's still partially on, drawing small amounts of power, not huge amounts. But what we suggest is just trying to get rid of those vampire uses and actually turn things off. An easy way to do that is with the power strips. You can plug everything into a power strip and then flip the off button and then everything's shut down. So I do this on my home entertainment area where I've got a DVD player. There might be a game console, the TV itself, and then you have to turn it on before you can turn anything on. It's just kind of a habit to get into, very simple. So you can look around the house, identify items like that, you know, unplug your phone chargers, shut down your computers at the end of the day, that type of thing. If you haven't already converted to LED light bulbs, it's an inexpensive way to save significant energy. The LED light bulbs use just a fraction of a traditional incandescent bulb. And in fact, they've been attributed to a general decline in electricity use in recent years across the country, just from this one technology. The other thing in terms of just kind of good overall housekeeping is running full loads of things. So full dishwasher, full laundry, it uses the same amount of energy whether it's half or full or full. So encouraging you to run those things as full loads as much as is practical. And little things like you can turn off the heated drying on your dishwasher, for example, just let it air dry, or trying to wash more with cold water when feasible, again, will reduce your energy use. And these are just a sampling of suggestions. We'll go on to the next slide. Okay, and now I want to spend just the last few minutes sharing information about assistance to help with bills. So if you're struggling or you know other people are struggling, please spread the word about these programs. Really important for people to, again, to stay comfortable in their homes. Getting shut off is a very stressful situation. So really trying to provide people with the resources to avoid having problems and feeling stressed out with energy bills. So there's a federal program called Energy Assistance. And there were very recent changes made to this program to increase eligibility. So I have the new income guidelines. It used to be 50% of the state median income to qualify based on your household size. And now it's been increased to 60% of that. The Department of Commerce just put out a press release today stating that it makes another 100,000 households eligible for energy assistance. So really important program to help people pay their bills. And it can help, grants are provided directly to the utilities. And it can go towards just kind of regular bills, and there's additional funding for people who've fallen behind on their bills to help them catch up. So it's a great program. It can also qualify you for other assistance. So Minnesota Energy Resources, for example, if you qualify for energy assistance, you can sign up for another affordability program that they offer that can bring your gas bill even further down, which is an excellent program. And I have the contact information here. In the Rochester area, it's the Three Rivers Community Action Group that administers energy assistance. So, and you can submit your application until September 1 of 2021. And we'll go on to the next slide. Other sources of help, I had just mentioned the gas affordability program. Other things that we suggest people reach out to if they're struggling with their bills is talking to the county about special assistance. The Salvation Army can provide help with energy bills. There's a new program from via the federal assistance programs with COVID called Rent Help MN. This was just opened up for applications right now. They're taking applications from people who are behind on the rent, and they can also apply for assistance with their utility bills. Later on this year, they're also going to be opening it up just to renters in general, not necessarily that you're late on your rent, but that you can receive help going forward if you have COVID related needs, or you've been affected by COVID financially. Community social service agencies are another good source. So these would be groups that might run food banks or food shelves. You can reach out to them to see if they have special help. We suggest sometimes local houses of worship can help community members on occasion. And if you're a student, checking with your student services. So like if you're in a post-secondary program, for example, they might be able to provide some help with bills. So please reach out to us with any questions, and we can definitely hook you up with resources to help. And just concluding with an invitation to sign up for a free energy bill consultation. It takes 30 minutes. I'm going to put in the chat where you can link directly up to our website to sign up. And when we have met with people across the state, we kind of track what their money savings would be if they followed our suggestions, and the average household saves about $150 if they follow through on our suggestions. So we feel like it's a pretty good use of 30 minutes. And we're almost always able to come up with some suggestions, but we also learn a lot when we talk to people too and love to pass on those tips. So thank you for your attention, and I look forward to more Q&A at the end, and look forward to hearing from the utilities about all their great programs that they offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Next we have Lisa with Minnesota Energy Resources.
Good evening. Happy Earth Fest week on behalf of Minnesota Energy Resources. I'm Lisa Rafferty. I am the program manager for residential and low-income programs. So Minnesota Energy Resources is your natural gas utility serving Rochester and surrounding areas. Next slide, please. We serve 179 communities throughout Minnesota. And most often when people think about energy efficiency and utilities, they think about rebate programs. And you're spot on with Minnesota Energy Resources. So if you go to the next slide, I will be speaking primarily to this slide for most of the time here. So right off at the top here, cashrebatesnow.com. This is our website that really has all the details of rebates that we offer. I have it organized from the easy to do, low cost up to the more expensive. So I'm going to start at the bottom. So water kits. These are free. You get a shower heads, faucet aerators, pipe wraps, and a water temperature card. And all the materials in this kit are to help you manage your water heating. So less hot water means you're heating less hot water, which means that should help lower your bill. And did I mention it was free? Who doesn't like free? It's delivered directly to your home. And really the cost is your time, the time to install it in your home. Moving up the next rung of the ladder here is heating system tune-up. So one of the things Carmen talked about, a real common sense thing to do is to maintain your heating system. The cost of a tune-up runs anywhere from $100 to $200, and we offer a rebate of $35. Again, this can help your heating system run more efficiently, can sometimes prolong the life of your system, but it also gives you an idea when it's time to replace. And you'd rather plan that decision instead of being caught in a situation where you're under a lot of pressure. So it's a real common sense action that you can take on your energy efficiency journey. The next one is smart thermostats, very popular in our rebate programs. We offer rebates between $25 and $50, and that really depends upon the sophistication. I mean, some of them are very sophisticated where it's learning your behaviors and taking away all the guesswork out of scheduling the controlling the temperature. So here is an expert tip. Most manufacturers are doing special promotion events, like they're providing or passing through pricing events during Father's Day and Black Friday. So that's when we generally see the most activity. So Father's Day, fathers love their gadgets. It's right around the corner. It's a great opportunity. And it really is a pretty easy DIY type improvement you can do to your home. In most cases, you can do this under an hour, and if he's really handy, probably under 30 minutes. So, and I have a smart thermostat, and I really just don't even have to think about it. It's pretty great. So moving up, the next rung here is appliance rebates. And the key with appliances, we offer rebates on dishwashers and clothes washers. The key is Energy Star. Purchase it, that's the primary eligibility. You need to purchase an Energy Star model. So the next three, hearth, duct sealing, and heat recovery ventilation, are a little more niche-y type rebates. So I'll kind of spend maybe a little bit more time on them. A hearth. So generally we see this with new construction, and we're looking for electronic ignition. So meaning there's no standing pilot. So that's really the key there. That's not as easy to do in an existing home. However, a lot of people are doing a lot of projects around their house with COVID and investing and making investments in their homes. So I thought I'd put it out there on the slide, because if you're adding hearth to your home, that's a great opportunity to make sure that you're purchasing a fireplace or a hearth product that does not have the standing pilot. So duct sealing and heat recovery, the next two, these are actually our new rebates for 2021. So we just added these two measures. So duct sealing, that's really improving the efficiency of your heating system. You're sealing the leaks in your ductwork. Well, think about that a minute. Your ductwork are behind your walls and not very accessible. And so you can sometimes do DIY ductwork sealing that in areas where you have access. But the rebate that we're really talking about here is for AeroSeal, which is a non-invasive method. And that is sealing from the inside out, where the sealants or particles are pushed through your ductwork. And so they're getting at those hard to reach places. This is more expensive than a DIY type. We are offering up to $500. Typical work that we're seeing for duct sealing is somewhere around that $1,500 to $2,000 range. So that's why you're seeing that higher rebate. So that really is kind of an exciting new rebate offer that we have. The next rebate that we offer is heat recovery ventilation. So this is a new one. So what is HRV? And it's sort of in the name. HRV recovers heat energy from the exhaust and uses it to preheat fresh air. So you're saving energy. And you see this mostly in new construction, because new construction code requires ventilation requirements, because newer homes, because of insulation, are very tight. So you need to have ventilation, and an HRV is the most efficient way to meet that requirement. So the question is, if you have an existing home, do you need one, right? And so it really is related to the tightness of your home and the air quality. If your home is tighter, you might need this, or you might consider this measure. We are offering a rebate for $400 for a whole home HRV. So the next three should be a little more familiar. We have water heating rebates, and the key with water heating rebates is really it needs to be Energy Star, number one, and number two, the higher the UEF, the higher the rebate. So we have 3 tiers, and you'll see that in our heating system rebates as well. The range here really relates to the efficiency that you choose. The higher the efficiency factor, the higher the rebate. And so with heating systems, that's AFUE, and for water heating, that's UEF. So that is really the efficiency that you need to be looking for really will dictate what rebate you may qualify for. And the last one, but certainly not least, is insulation rebates. And we have a variety of insulation rebates ranging from $125 up to $650, and they can be used in combination with each other. So this includes sidewall, foundation, rim joists, floor above unconditioned space, air sealing, and attic insulation. So you could do multiple measures, and that can really add up. And I believe the last time I checked that Minnesota Energy Resources rebates are the most generous insulation rebates in the state. So it's really fortunate that Rochester residents have the opportunity to take advantage of that. So these are bigger projects. So in order to qualify for rebate programs, they must be professionally installed. And in fact, you must use an authorized insulation contractor. So again, all information is on cashrebatesnow.com. If you want to move to the next slide, please. So if any of these items are make sense for your home, like on the previous slide there, the first thing you really need to do is, before you get started, is to go to the website cashrebatesnow.com and review the eligibility requirements before you purchase, before you commit, to make sure that the improvement that you're making or the equipment that you're buying is going to qualify. And I have the logo on here for authorized installation contractors. For installation, they generally have that logo. We also have on our website a lookup, so you can look up, I believe it's by county, and it will tell you all the contractors that are certified to do installation work. You will see a slight difference on our website between existing homes and new construction. Everything I had mentioned earlier really is for existing homes, and all rebate application paperwork must be received within 60 days of completion. And I'll just highlight a few things because these are the most reasons why rebate might not be eligible. All equipment must be new. It cannot be refurbished. And again, you must use the AIC for installation work. And tune-up rebate is only eligible every other year. So that is probably our most common reason. It's great that you're doing it every year, but the rebate is only out there every year. So the next slide, please. So where to begin? That was a lot of information, right? What's really unique about Rochester is that Rochester Public Utilities and Minnesota Energy Resources, we co-sponsor a workshop. It's called Neighborhood Energy Challenge. And this workshop kind of goes through the benefits of an in-home energy audit, like Carmen had talked about. We have a partnership where we actually deliver both a gas and electric, so a full comprehensive audit. And we give you a custom analysis of your home. And really the goal is to help you identify what makes sense specific to your situation and help you prioritize those opportunities. And if there's installation work, we can certainly connect you with the authorized installation contractors in your area. So next slide, please. So some other challenges. Sometimes there is certainly scenarios where you have an older home, like Carmen described, those older homes, and there's a lot of potential for energy efficiency, but maybe you just can't afford those upgrades. So similar, going to the next slide, I have described here 2 programs that are available in Rochester. The low-income weatherization program, which is really a sister to energy assistance. And this program is funded by Minnesota Energy Resources. And really the benefits are they provide weatherization work to eligible customers at no cost. And so I have the income eligibility chart as of yesterday, but Carmen's chart actually is up today because that did come out today, I believe. So the income eligibility is slightly higher. It actually is more reflective of the 4U2 program. How you apply for this is applying for energy assistance. SEMCAC is the major service provider for weatherization. You can go to their website. They have an application form and for energy assistance. And again, that same application form is used for weatherization. Similar but slightly different is our 4U2 program on the right. And Minnesota Energy Resources is the fully funds this, and this is their standalone low-income program, and it's very similar to low-income weatherization, provides weatherization work at a minimal cost to customers. And the cost comes into play if there's significant health and safety. There could be up to a copay of only $150, so that's, again, very minimal. And the income eligibility is slightly higher for the 4U2 program. So a family of 4, if you make $65,000 or less, would potentially be eligible for the program. How to apply? cashrebatesnow.com. And you can fill out, there's an application that you download, and then you can email it to our program implementer at 4U2@franklinenergy.com. So those are some of the other resources. So again, a lot of information on these slides. cashrebatesnow.com goes through all these programs. We also have a 800 number that is probably the simplest 800 number still in existence. You call the number and you press 1 and you are connected to a live person, and this is dedicated to energy efficiency. So if you press 2, you're going to get a representative that works commercial, so business and commercial rebates. If you press 1, you're going to get residential. So they are there Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we also do have an email where you could forward questions about residential programs. So that is all I have for today. Thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to any questions you might have.
Thank you, Lisa. Next up, our last presenter here is Stephanie from Rochester Public Utilities.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Humphrey. I work with all of our residential programs and events at our PU, and just here to share our information with you tonight. Just a little bit about our PU. We're the largest municipal in the state of Minnesota. We provide electric and water. We serve over 56,000 electric customers and over 40,000 water customers. And if you are an RPU customer, you'll notice on your bill too that we also, this is a big question we get, we also include charges for another city department, Public Works, which is wastewater and stormwater. So how can RPU help you as a homeowner? I'm gonna kind of talk about 4 different things. We're gonna have a little overlap with both Carmen and Lisa. So kind of tie it all together. I'm gonna talk about our customer portal, briefly mention our home energy audits, our cash rebates, and some additional financing options. So as a RPU customer, about a year ago, we launched a new customer portal and application. So you can find it on the screen. If you go to our website, rpu.org, you can click on my account. It'll take you to the web portal. Otherwise, you can download our app, RPU Connect. And this is a great way to manage your bills, how you want to pay them, if you want to do budget billing, different aspects of that. But the main thing is you can view all your usage and download it. So it's a great way to kind of look at what you're using a month by month and kind of start there. Lisa already did a great job talking about our neighborhood energy challenge, but just a great partnership. It is just so key. It's the first place you really want to start. You want to assess your home. You want to look at what can be done, those low cost versus those more expensive items that might need to be replaced. This is a free workshop. You just sign up with us. So you get, right now we're still doing it virtually. So you'll get a Zoom link. You attend our workshop. It's not even an hour. It's about 45 minutes, learn some great tips, and that makes you eligible for our home energy audit of only $50, which is over a $400 value. Now I'm going to talk about our cash rebates. I'm going to see our branding is Conserve and Save. So you'll see this brand on all of our rebate applications on websites, any of our marketing, so you can identify that. We also, on a side note, do partner with Austin Utilities and Owatonna Utilities on these programs too. So we're kind of the southern part of the state, and we offer these rebates, which is really great when you're working with different trade allies, contractors, things like that. So first I'll talk about our electric rebates. I don't have dollars on here, but we have, on our website, we have a great easy chart that's got all of these dollar amounts. So kind of broken into different categories. We have our Energy Star appliances, and you'll see we overlap on a couple of these with Minnesota Energy Resources. So if you have gas water heating, you're going to be able to, you're going to see a benefit of a rebate from both of us. So we've got the Energy Star clothes washers, dehumidifiers, dishwashers, freezers, refrigerators, and room air conditioners. So always look for the Energy Star label when you're working with your appliance dealer or if you're buying it on your own. Energy Star lighting, again, you're going to see In the stores now, you can't find a lot of those incandescent bulbs anymore. You're seeing a little bit of the halogen. You're seeing those CFLs. That used to be the great technology, but LEDs have really taken over. They're a quarter of the usage. And we provide great rebates. The prices really have come down over the years. So it really does make sense to invest that small amount of money in something that's so energy efficient and can produce great light compared to if you've had a CFL before. And the nice thing is there's no mercury in the LEDs like there is CFLs. So we provide a rebate of about 50% up to a cap on LED bulbs, fixtures, and those ceiling fans that have LED lighting. So always just look for the Energy Star label. So HVAC and water heating, this is a category that we've kind of expanded on. So we offer rebates when you're upgrading your central air conditioner, starting at $200 on up, depending on how efficient model that you put in. A couple caveats to those is we provide when you're replacing certain things like an ECM circulator pump on, say, a boiler, or a furnace fan motor in your gas furnace, we'll provide a rebate on those. And then if you're looking at, going maybe the electric route on your HVAC system, we offer rebates on air source heat pumps and ground source or geothermal heat pumps, which you might have heard of that name. Those are really coming around. They are now manufacturing cold climate air source heat pumps, and we're starting to see those that are just better for our weather here in Minnesota and are very energy efficient. Right now we're taking part in a statewide study on those cold climate air source heat pumps, so we're eager to learn some more there. Smart thermostats, where Lisa talked about those on the gas side. If you do have, electric resistance heat, or you do have a heat pump that's electric, we offer those Energy Star smart thermostats there. But if you're on the gas side, you go over to Lisa's website. New this year is our heat pump water heater rebates. And then also we have the AC clean and tune. So if you're going to get your furnace cleaned and tuned and make sure you're maintaining that, you want to do your air conditioner also. So we offer a $25 rebate there that you can take advantage of every other year. And then when you are purchasing some of those appliances, remember to recycle those. And if there's a cost of recycling those, we're going to give you an additional rebate of up to $15 on those, as you can see. Next slide, please. So here we have our water rebates. Again, electric and water kind of go hand in hand. And you're going to see some overlap here that we offer a water incentive on Energy Star clothes washers. And then also looking at those WaterSense labeled items, the toilets, you see a lot of those out there now. And then our WaterSense weather-based irrigation controllers. So if you're looking, if you're working on your landscaping, you need a controller, look at that. And also rain barrels. You can even make your own rain barrel and provide receipts and pictures, and we're going to give you a $10 rebate on that. Solar rebates. So this is definitely a hot topic. As we've talked about, we've seen solar arrays going in large scale on homes, on businesses. We are actually seeing a lot of solar installed in Rochester. This year alone, we already have 50 residential systems in the queue. Some of those are installed, some are in process. We offer a $500 rebate for a new photovoltaic system that's at least 2 kW or larger. And also, I forgot to mention on the slide, but we have there is still the federal tax incentives. So you're going to get 26% back on those. So one thing I really want to point out is if you're looking for solar for your home, you really want to step back first and look at that energy efficiency and have that energy audit done and try and tighten up your home, make it more efficient, because then the size of your solar system will be better sized. So we always just recommend multiple quotes from contractors, because there are a lot of contractors in town. And as a utility, we don't promote one contractor over another, but we always like customers to do their due diligence and feel comfortable with who they're selecting. And we'll work with you to interconnect and net meter your system up to 40 kW. All right, here's where you're going to find our rebate applications. Right on here, you're going to find our residential ones. All of our residential programs are available to business customers too. And then business rebates are under that same area. We do have this hot button right here. And then if you're looking to install solar, you want to go to this page. You can find out more about our rebates, our interconnection process, frequently asked questions. Just a great resource there. But as always, you can always call or email us too. One thing I didn't point out in my slides that I'd forgotten is electric vehicles. We're seeing a lot of those in Rochester coming on board with our utility with charging. We don't have any programs available for the chargers or the EVs specifically, but we have what's called our EV Club. So if you go under our Education and Environment tab, there's an electric vehicle section you can learn more about. And you can also, if you have one, join our EV Club, you fill it out, and we're going to give you $25 on your next bill. Next slide, please. So Carmen and Lisa talked about great places to get help with your energy efficiency, financing, that kind of thing. So what if, you're kind of above that pace, that income scale? What are some of your options to implement some of these energy efficiency projects? So just looking at, these are kind of state and local programs. You've got the Minnesota Housing Finance Agencies. They have a rehab loan program. Center for Energy and Environment, which we partner with on our Neighborhood Energy Challenge program. They have home improvement and solar loan programs available. Locally, Olmsted County has the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program. And also there's the Rochester Community Development Block Grant. And then of course, a lot of local banking institutions have home improvement loans that you can take advantage of. So working with us on your rebates, and then if you need some additional financing, it's kind of the way to go. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I know we're about at 8 here, but if anyone has any questions, I know we're all happy to stay on here to answer those.
I think we were able to answer all of the ones that were in the chat throughout the event.
Perfect.
Oh, there is a new one that just came in. How do we qualify for the $50 audit?
I can take that. You just have to attend our workshop. So if you just sign up for the next workshop, otherwise we'll have some more in the fall. You just attend that virtual workshop, and make that your attendance there makes you eligible for the audit.
The caveat would also be that you would need to have RPU or Minnesota Energy Resources as one of your utility companies.
Correct.
Right.
And we did record this, so all of the information for that event, as well as these other rebates and incentives that were shared, are on the slides in the recording, as well as the contact information for our presenters this evening.
Yeah, and should be able to find the Neighborhood Energy Challenge link to throw in the chat too.
All right, if there aren't any other questions, thank you to all of our presenters this evening. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us for EarthFest 2021. And thank you to those of you that tuned in tonight to learn a little bit more about home energy efficiency opportunities.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.